Hey, what's up everyone? Nico's Thoughts here, and today I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on what would happen if Oda never separated the Straw Hats. I know two YouTubers already did a video about this topic, but I wanted to share my scenario about it. Just a reminder that this is my opinion on the matter, so if you have a different headcanon on how things went down, please share them down in the comments below or tell me on Twitter. And with that out of the way, let's get things started. One Piece is a vast and wonderful story with many twists, tearjerkers, and jaw-dropping moments that always leave you wondering what's going to happen next. Luffy declaring war on the government, Zoro's nothing happened speech, and it even made me cry for a frickin' boat. But out of all these moments, nothing really shocked me as much as the Straw Hats getting forcefully separated during the Sabaody Archipelago arc. I remember reading this scene for the first time and I was like, there's no way this is real. I was actually shocked Oda decided to separate the Straw Hats and declaring this as their first failure as a crew. But over the past few days I thought about what if they didn't get separated? How different will the story really be? Let's talk about it. So two scenarios came to mind while writing this. Scenario number one would be to change parts of the story before the separation. Scenario number two would play out the same way in the series up until the point Kuma separates the Straw Hats. I decided to go with scenario number two only because I just wanted to change what happened after Kuma separated them. And with that out of the way, let's begin with what if Oda never separated the Straw Hats? Part 1, it's a working title. So in this multiverse of One Piece, Kizaru and Kuma still show up. Kuma sends everyone flying, but instead of sending them to their original destinations, he only sends them flying to the outskirts of Sabaody, where they are nowhere near the Admiral and the other Navy members. The Straw Hats don't know what happened, but assumed that all of them were still on the island. I would assume some members are alone and some are paired together because if Luffy is seen by a Marine, he would just plunge in the battle. Since Robin was sent away right before Luffy, I'm going to be pairing them up so that Luffy can have a guide back to where the other Straw Hats are. I know this isn't how Luffy would normally act, but I do think that since he suffered his first major defeat, I feel like he would just want to reunite with his crew before anything else happens. After the incident, Kizaru leaves Sabaody to head back to Marine HQ, thinking that the Straw Hats were taken care of by Kuma. Since the other 9 supernovas remained, I do think some Marines did stay on Sabaody just to make sure that they weren't there. During that time, Kuma meets with Rayleigh and tells him what he did and why he did it, telling them that the Straw Hats should be able to find their way back to Shaki's bar and leave before the Marines start to question him on what really happened. Therefore, he never has to guard the Sunny for 2 years. He still goes to Dr. Vegapunk, gets his mind erased, and becomes a government weapon. It takes the Straw Hats a day or two to reunite, hiding from the remaining Marines until they all meet back at Shaki's bar, patiently waiting to see if Kizaru and Kuma are still on the island. While reuniting and healing from their defeat, they get a newspaper from the news queue and are informed that the Fire Fist Ace is captured and going to be executed at Marine HQ. Luffy, hearing the news, is filled with rage and makes his choice of going to save Ace alone. He tells his crewmates to stay on Sabaody and that it's his brother and he doesn't want to drag the rest of them with him. Zoro then bonks him on the head, grabs him by the vest, and yells, "He's our friend as well. We are going with you to save Ace." Luffy then looks at the rest of his crew, and while not everyone has met Ace, they don't want their captain doing this alone. Rayleigh and Hachi offer their assistance on the rescue mission. Originally, Rayleigh had no reason to be at Marineford because he didn't know Ace and Luffy were brothers, and didn't know Luffy would try to save him after the Kuma incident. Assuming he's healed from his gunshot wounds, Hachi also joins in because he sees them as friends now and wants to help Luffy too. While discussing the plan, Robin informs them that they have two options. The first option is to break in Impel Down, which is in the middle of the Calm Belt with Sea Kings lurking everywhere and has a history of only having one escapee in its existence. Also, the only easy way to get there is through the Gates of Justice located at Marine HQ or Enies Lobby. Rayleigh informs them that the easiest way would be to break into Marine HQ, as he knows Whitebeard well enough that he won't just sit by and let his crewmate be executed. Using Whitebeard as a distraction is the best way to save Ace. In the original timeline, it took Luffy 2 days to get from Sabaody to Amazon Lily, but it wasn't by boat, it was by Kuma's Devil Fruit. It also took 4 days for Luffy and Boa to travel from Amazon Lily to Impel Down, so I don't know the travel time it would take by boat, So that's the conclusion I came up with. Rayleigh knows how Whitebeard will sneak in by coding his ships, which is exactly what the Straw Hats will be doing as well. Luffy at first wouldn't be happy with that plan, claiming that he doesn't want to wait 4 days to save Ace, but Robin and Rayleigh both inform him that they have a higher probability of the rescue being a success over just rushing into Impel Down. Luffy ultimately agrees to wait it out and rest before the big day. The plan is set. They will go on the day of Ace's execution. Because Luffy never ends up going to Impel Down, we don't see him reuniting with past foes like Buggy, Mr. 3, and Crocodile. We don't see him make new allies with Jinbei and Ivankov as well. He also doesn't get the status of being the second person to ever break out of Impel Down. On the day of the rescue, things play out the same. Ace arrives at HQ, Sengoku reveals he is Gold D. Roger's son, then the Whitebeard pirates arrive. Whitebeard creates a tsunami, and Aokiji freezes the waves that make the icy battlefield. The battle starts, but Luffy will make his grand entrance falling down from the sky. Instead, while the Marines and the Whitebeard pirates are fighting, you hear a loud bang coming from under the ice. The bang keeps getting louder and louder until the Thousand Sunny crashes through the ice. Marines and pirates stop and stare as they don't know what's happening. A few people there look at the flag and immediately recognize who showed up. Gecko Moria immediately filled with anger. Garp, Kobe, and Helmeppo are shocked. Mihawk stares and says something like, "This guy interesting." And by this time, Kuma is just a cyborg, so he doesn't say anything. Luffy goes on top of the deck, takes a deep breath, and yells, The rest of the Straw Hats join him, with Nami making a comment like, "Well, there goes our way to enter without being noticed." They make a cool pose for the battle before Luffy jumps forward and starts sprinting towards Ace, while the other Straw Hats cover. Sadly, since Crocodile never attacks Whitebeard, we never get the epic scene of Luffy telling Whitebeard he will be king of the pirates. But he does notice Luffy's straw hat and immediately remembers what Shanks told him. He then smiles and then screams to his crew, "Don't let this rookie outshine us." So this might be a hot take, but I actually don't see the other Straw Hats being there increases their chance of saving Ace. In fact, I think it weakens their chances, at least from the original timeline. In the original, we have Luffy and 2 other former warlords, one being a Logia, and a Revolutionary Army officer in Ivankov. With his Okama men he had in level 5.5 of Impel Down, we had Buggy, Mr. 3, Mr. 1, and hundreds of Impel Down soldiers. I do think having the other Straw Hats there is still good, I just don't think they were more capable than Jinbei, Crocodile, or Ivankov at the time. As the battle rages on, it's hard to tell what exactly would happen, but I still think even though we don't have Mr. 3 there, Luffy will still be able to free Ace, but he still would die to the hands of Akainu. But instead of Jinbei being the one who saves Luffy from Akainu, it'll be Rayleigh this time, while the Whitebeard pirates hold him off. I thought about Zoro being the one to get his captain away from Akainu, but I think Rayleigh is more suited for this. Whitebeard and Akainu still have their fight, and right before he delivers the final blow, the Blackbeard pirates show up. So let's pause here real quick and I'll explain why I think this plays out the same, but with some changes. In the original timeline, Blackbeard goes to Impel Down and uses Luffy's breakout as a distraction. He then goes to level 6 to get some of the world's deadliest pirates to join his crew. In my multiverse timeline, I still think Blackbeard takes the battleship to Impel Down. And since there is no breakout, they have to change of plans. They can't go in guns blazing because of Magellan, so they have to have a reason for not being at HQ. This was the hardest part to think of when writing this. Sadly, the best conclusion I can offer is Blackbeard uses his status as a warlord to enter, and Magellan with no other choice has to let him in. Blackbeard then lets out prisoners, knowing Magellan would obviously not let him go all the way down to level 6. On his way down, he lets more and more prisoners out until he gets to level 6. He then lets everyone from that level out, including Crocodile and Jinbei. I'll have him go along with Teach's plan, only to betray him once he arrives at Marineford. Ivankov will also escape Impel Down using the distraction, but will never get to meet Luffy in this timeline. So back to the topic. The Blackbeard pirates show up, and I still think things play out the same. Whitebeard still dies at the hands of Teach and his crew. While I did put Jinbei still showing up, I still don't think he does much to anyone, since everyone on his side would have been fighting for a majority of the time, and I don't think he would be of much help once Whitebeard passes away. With the help of the Whitebeard pirates and Jinbei, the Straw Hats and Rayleigh get away and go back to Sabaody. A couple days pass and Luffy wakes up all wild like how he did at the Bay of Amazon Lily. He's filled with anger and starts hitting everything around him. The other Straw Hats and Rayleigh calm him down, and while he did lose his brother, he has his friends there with him this time to help him through this. So I thought about this for a while, and As much as I would like for Luffy to meet Jinbei, I don't see a scenario where this would happen. Rayleigh staying on Sabaody wasn't common knowledge, and while Jinbei did make friends with Ace, there would be no way for him to find Luffy anywhere, and not enough of a reason to go after him after the Marineford War. After their touching reunion, I do think the whole crew then realizes that they would not have survived in the New World if they had gone straight in. They ask Rayleigh if they could train them to become stronger. Rayleigh ultimately agrees to this because he doesn't want to see the Straw Hats fail for the second time. Because Rayleigh is the one training them this time and not them getting their own style of training, I do think they all get better at hockey, especially Zoro and Sanji. It's kind of sad to think about that we won't get to see Nami training with Weather, Usopp with a slingshot, and Frankie even becoming a bigger cyborg. And I still think they will be prepared for the New World. I just don't know how well they will with their own fighting style. And that kind of wraps things up. I honestly don't know where to go from then. I kind of want to say they would take 2 years, but who knows? The whole 2 years idea was because they were all separated, and I don't think that would work with all of them there. I do think it would be a long time. I just don't know if it would be 2 years. I still think they go to the New World. I still think they go to Fishman Island. Horty Jones is a very non-compelling villain, and I do think they take him out easily. Their next thing is Punk Hazard. I still think they can beat Caesar. I don't know how they would fare with Doflamingo though, so that's what I'm going to stop this what if scenario. Guys, thank you so much for listening to my multiversal theory if Oden never separated the Straw Hats. If you did get to this, I really hope you liked it. If not, leave a comment down below and tell me what you think about it. Tell me what your theories are and how you think it would go. Please remember to like and hit the subscribe button, and peace out, everyone.